Hey, it's 5:22 a.m. and I'm getting ready for work. And I'm trying to stay positive and keeping my mind sharp and to avoid negativity as much as I possibly can. Um, Last week, I decided um, that since I've taken my stuff out of the garage over at my old house, um, I sent Joel a letter letting him know that I was taking him off my cell phone plan, which, I really talked to my son about it a while ago, and he said that my son said he wanted to stay on T-Mobile, so I figured my son was taking on more responsibility for the phone bill, but still, I wanted to make sure that he wasn't on my cell phone plan anymore. I'm severing ties completely, and I don't want anything to do with that family. Um, I spent last night working on some art projects, but mostly I spent a lot of time reading a great book that I got off of Amazon um, regarding workplace mobbing. One of the reasons why I enjoy this book so much is because it describes the same tactics that were used on me when my jobs started to go crazy, and the behavior of the people and the cover-ups and the legal issues relating to it, and why they feel like they have to cover themselves and lie and protect their own interests. It's a very interesting book. I have like about, I don't know, maybe 50 more pages of the book to go. Um, I'm very impressed with the way this lady wrote out the book. I might remember to put the name of the book in the description box if other people are interested in reading it. Very interesting book. But anyway, um, I was also thinking last night of how I believe that Joel's family has a very aggressive behavior, or this arrogance about them where they feel like they could just that they're likable people when in fact they're not. There's nothing likable about them. Um, I would never want to deal with them ever again, ever, as well as my family. But the very fact that they would think that I'd want to give them a second chance after knowing what I know is absolutely ridiculous. That could never happen. So, it is what it is. I just want to move on and forget these people. As far as my cell phone plan is concerned, it'd be nice because I could save a little more money on my cell phone plan. I personally am not crazy about T-Mobile. I'm really not. And I know I had AT&T in the past. Maybe other people have better service plans. I really haven't looked into it. Cell phone issues are not something I like talking about. I don't like technology very much. I mean, I use it, but because it's something I have to use, but it's not something that I like to sit here and research, talk about. I talked to my son before and said, I want to get another cell phone plan. My son was like, no, T-Mobile's working out for now. So I figured, you know what, let's let him make that decision, But I decided to take Joel off of my cell phone plan since I removed my stuff from the garage. That's my way of saying I don't want anything to do with you. I did send him a letter saying, I'm going no contact. That goes for my family as well as his, Not that I ever had any contact with his family in the first place, but I want him to understand, it's just don't contact me ever. I don't ever want to hear from these people ever again. So anyway, yeah, today's Monday. I just want to get the day over with and come home and just kind of unwind and think about, trying to get myself back together again. It's been a very long, drawn out issue that I think is unnecessary, especially from the employment standpoint, and I think about, how these people got involved in it and they were so, convinced that they were doing the right thing when in fact they were completely misled into something that was completely illegal and, something that could tarnish their image. So I'm going to really tell say this to a lot of employers, you know, you got to think about what you do before you do it. Like, many people don't realize what they're doing, but really, you could be taking on an issue that could be very serious, and this issue is a very serious one. Um, you know, don't think that you could just, it's okay to get involved in family issues or whatever. It's not okay, you know. I don't consider any of these people my family, including my blood relations, and it's my right to do so, you know. And the problem with, you know, what do you call it, domestic stalkers, is that you get these people who almost seem insistent on sticking around and wanting to be a part of your life. There's no reason for me to. Um, I'm an adult and I can throw someone out of my life anytime I want to. And I choose to throw these people out of my life. I think a lot of people don't understand. They're like, they think, well, that's your family. You know, families are supposed to stick together. Yeah, they should if it's consensual, but it's not. You know, I don't want anything to do with these people. And, you know, I have a right to say that. Most families are closer. I think maybe a lot of families have better relationships than with these people than I have. So they don't understand. And so they think, well, you know, you're wrong. These people care about you or whatever. You know, the thing is, no, they don't. Okay? If a person cares about you, they're not going to mob you out of your job. They're not going to prevent you from accomplishing your goals. As a matter of fact, they're going to want to see you make your goals. They're going to want to make sure that you know, do the things that you want to do. More importantly, things you have to do. So these people don't give a shit. These people are just selfish, spiteful people that are extremely egotistical on top of it. So no, I'm not wanting to deal with these people. So that was pretty much what I did this weekend. I pretty much did laundry, got a few groceries, cleaned up my house a little bit, and I tried to get as much rest as I possibly could. I worked a little bit this weekend. I went in for a few hours this weekend. Next weekend I plan on staying in bed. Not in bed, but staying home. Why? Because, you know, I feel as though the trek out there that I have to make is kind of a lot, especially since I don't get paid as much as I'd like to. So it really isn't worth it for me to make that trek. Sorry, I'm sitting here trying to comb my hair and stuff while I'm doing this. But anyway, no, I just, you know, I'm exhausted. Not so much exhausted from the job. I'm exhausted because of this whole issue. Things that happen that shouldn't have happened. And the foolish, you know, behavior of these people. I mean, I was thinking about how, like, the farmer got involved in this, and he was so sure and so right that, you know, he was so confident that he was right in his behavior and how he dismissed my concerns. So arrogant, thinking that he was right. He was completely wrong. And it's funny, you know, the thing is, when you're right, and you know you're right, you have every right to say the things that you want to say and do what you want to do, and nobody's going to convince you otherwise. You know, I feel not. You know, it's not even that I feel like proud or anything like that. It's just I want these people out of my life. Okay, there's really no feeling about it. It's just I know the difference between right and wrong. I knew I was right from the very beginning. From day one, when I started realizing that this was an interconnected thing, I knew it was wrong. Okay, I knew it was wrong even when I didn't know as much as I do now. Like when I was getting mobbed out of his place and everything, I kept thinking these people are wrong. The more I know, I mean, the more I can see just how wrong it was and how they buried themselves into this. But you know, they always thought that they were right because I guess they thought, well, you know, everyone else involved in this, their family's involved in this, and they thought that they could throw in bullshit religious topics, and they thought they were right. I knew I was right. I knew I had the law by my side, on my side. Everything that they were doing is illegal. If they were bringing religion in, obviously, there was nothing scriptural about what they were doing. I knew from the get-go. And so, that's why I don't feel like I'm ever intimidated by most people, because I can stand up to the biggest bully and win. My case is the way it is right, And so when you know you're right, you don't care how many people are involved. You don't care what it looks like. The fact is, you can stand tall because you know you're right. So anyway, it's not even a matter of being bragging, because it's nothing to brag about. It's just, I want to move on with my life. That's the most important thing, okay? And I don't want to remember these people. Like I said, if you were involved in my targeting, and it's so funny, I'm so glad that this lady writes her book so well. She talks about mobbing, and she also talks about how oftentimes gang stalking follows, which is something I know, but still, it's like, I like hearing people's experiences, because these people, their tactics are always the same. They always try to discredit you. They use lies, smear campaigns, and their office politics is also something that people who are incompetent in their jobs rely on. They use campaign smears and tactics like office politics. Like, for example, I guess the whole religious thing was used against me because, that's the only thing that they could pull out of their ass, so they could find some sort of, to try to get people's opinions and to make people lean on a particular side of an issue. When the issue is, are you competent to do your job? That's the issue. But people will resort to these sort of tactics. And I really do appreciate the fact that she mentions how common this is in the workplace. And as I was reading this, I kept thinking, this is what most business owners need to be aware of. They need to be aware and be able to watch these signs that are going on in the workplace. Oftentimes you could tell if a person's being mobbed out of their job or somebody is doing something unethical. Like, for example, when I was working at the farmer's place, you could tell that this was going on, and people were behaving in a way that was sabotaging me. And oftentimes, some people, like, for example, even though the farmer was like the orchestrator of it, he promoted it everywhere in any way he could, but still, in some cases, the owner may not even have an idea as to what's going on. Like, they might be completely oblivious that the person is getting mobbed out of their job. All they see is that, this person isn't being included or whatever. They're kind of off on their own. They should be asking questions. They should be asking questions as to why. And then also, they should be following up with their supervisors or their managers as to why these people are kind of standing on the sidelines. There's certain clues and signs to look for, which I will be doing another video on that. This book really kind of made me start thinking about the signs to look for, and I have thought a lot about them last night, but I will be doing another video later so that people can be aware of this, because oftentimes the target is all on their own in the workplace, meaning everybody is in on this conspiracy to sabotage this person. And this person has no support system. And oftentimes, people are going along with it because it's a part of office politics. They feel like if they side with the perpetrator or the person who's instigating this, like, for example, the general manager over at Murray, they feel like, well, I'm going to side with this person because that way, this is office politics, so I could be on their good side. That's wrong, okay? And it's wrong. And it often hurts the person who's innocent. But they don't care who's innocent. They care about, making themselves look good. So the issue is that there are signs of mobbing that people need to be aware of. I'm talking about higher people in the organization, because your managers could be doing this. They could be opening you up to a lawsuit. They could be also, most of the time, they're running the person who's most valuable out of your company. That's usually what the campaign is, because most people who are mobbed out of their jobs are very hard workers. They're very dedicated to the work. And I liked how this girl was explaining how she felt about her job, how she felt like she was really enthusiastic about her job, and she threw herself into her work. And I liked what she said about that, because I feel the same way. I'm the same kind of person. And it's those kind of people, the people who really have the ability to do things, who are talented, who are very skilled at what they do. And usually it's the people who are feeling inadequate and who are feeling short. They fall short of those sort of skills, and they feel like they have to use manipulative tactics so that they can get what they want. So that's when they resort to the office politics. That's when they start the gossip king campaigns. That's when they start all of these dramas. And if they really were qualified to do their job, they wouldn't have to resort to these sort of tactics. But anyway, I will be back with another video later. Right now I have to, get some dressed. Gonna be throwing on some jeans here, and I think it's gonna be pretty warm today, so I don't think I need to wear long sleeves, which is good. And then I'm gonna head out the door. But I will be back with my video about signs to look for in your company if you suspect, and so that you can be aware that a person is being mobbed at their job, because they need support at that point. Okay, it is so critical for them to be able to turn that situation around. And oftentimes it's hard, it's a very difficult thing to do, because when a mobbing process begins, the whole purpose is to eliminate that person. Okay, but there needs to be a process put in place to where these people are acknowledged for their skills, and there's some protection for them to get rid of the people who really are toxic and be able to promote a healthy workplace environment. I will be back with that video later. Right now, I got to scoot out the door. Wrapping up this video. Have a wonderful day.